I'm Senator Elizabeth Warren.
And I'm Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
And we're teaming up today because we have some questions for Steve Mnuchin.
Steven Mnuchin is President Trump's Treasury Secretary, and he is a walking example of what happens when rich and powerful people put other rich and powerful people into power. Mnuchin was on the board of Goldman Sachs, and then he went to serve on the board of Sears.
Yeah, but it's not the old Sears. Now, when my daddy had a heart attack when I was a girl, my mama got a full-time job, minimum wage, answering phones at Sears. Now, today it's a very different Sears.
And that's because in the early 2000s, Steven Mnuchin's old college roommate, a private investment fund owner named Eddie Lampert, put his friend, Steven Mnuchin, on the Sears board. And then he drove the company into the ground.
For the better part of a decade, Eddie Lampert's name has been inextricably tied with Sears, but at this stage, it's really unclear whether his hedge fund ESL investments generated returns or losses.
Eddie Lampert is a guy who likes to want to be a winner, and this was an L.
Instead of investing in the company, he sucked about $6 billion in value out of it and then did stock buybacks, which certainly made him a lot of money.
He loaded Sears with huge amounts of debt, making it hard to withstand shocks to the retail industry and the 2008 financial crisis, because debt is what makes Wall Street money. He closed over 3,500 stores and fired more than 250,000 workers.
And talk about conflicts. Lampert even sold Sears real estate to himself and then rented that real estate back to Sears at prices he helped set.
Sears filed for bankruptcy. Thousands of workers lost their jobs, but Eddie Lampert, he likely walked away with billions.
Yeah. Now, if this sounds crazy to you, it's because it is. And it's not just Sears.
Take my constituents in the Bronx. Last year, private equity groups took over Toys R Us and fired 38,000 workers without giving them the severance pay that they were promised. Retail workers and workers across the country deserve so much better.
Yeah, and they also deserve a Treasury Secretary who fights for them, not someone who spent a decade raking in cash for himself at the expense of hundreds of thousands of Sears employees.
So we've sent Steven Mnuchin a letter asking him what he did as a member of the Sears board when Eddie Lampert proposed gutting the business, closing it, and buying back stock rather than investing in workers. I think it's important that we know how the secretary felt about this course of action at that time.
That's right. We think the American people deserve answers, and we're out there to fight for them.
That's right.